is Inside Out.
Inside Out is presented by HTC. This is life. Connect with it. And Magnolia's at 26th for good old-fashioned Southern comfort food where Mama eats. Along with the McGuire Law Firm. Be kind today and tomorrow.
Happy New Year, friends, and welcome to Inside Out. With this being a new year, I thought it'd be fun to introduce you to a new nonprofit. This one is all about the nursing profession. And how about a new organization? This one, nature lovers will enjoy. It's all about helping the Lewis Ocean Bay Preserve. You'll meet a man who teaches iPhone techniques and a gourd artist. And we'll talk about prescribed fires and why they're important to our area. But in order to begin, all I want to say is, hot dog! It's a new year. So who does not like hot dogs? It's an all-American food, and this business has been written up in all sorts of national magazines right here in Litchfield. Meet Chester, famous from Chester's Pit Stop.
How you doing?
I am doing great when I have food in front of me, but Chester, you moved here from New Jersey many moons ago, 8 years ago, and you thought you were going to retire.
Yes, I did.
Tell me the story.
Well, my wife and I moved down here, and she decided to go to work for the hospital system. She's a nurse of 25 years, and I decided to take my little pension and retire. So I was fishing every day, enjoying the good life, and she was working 12-hour shifts and came home one day with a little bit of an attitude and told me to go find something to do.
But you were fishing.
I was fishing. She wanted me to keep out of trouble. So I opened up a little hot dog joint.
Yeah, a little hot dog joint. It might be little, but it is powerful. You've been selling a lot of hot dogs.
I've been selling some hot dogs.
Now, your hot dogs aren't just hot dogs. You buy a really good quality hot dog, and what I love is that you've got the potato bun.
Yes, the Martin's potato bun.
And a lot of people don't know the difference between a regular bun and the potato bun, but there's a little bit of sweetness, isn't there?
Yes, there is, and when they're steamed, they're just unsurpassable.
What is your most popular item, Chester?
Chester's chili. I have to say I sell a lot of Chester's chili, and my warm garlic relish. A lot of people... I also have the New Jersey, New York red onions. I make them homemade as well.
So let's talk about some of your accolades, because even behind me on this wall, there's all sorts of accolades from all sorts of national publications.
Yeah, I was written up in Southern Living magazine, one of the top 3 hot dogs in AAA magazine, Best of South Carolina. So it's been a crazy ride for just 4 years in business.
So let's talk about the opportunity that people have to come here and eat, because you're open quite a bit. I mean, it's not like you have
I'm open Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 5, and Saturday, 11 to 4.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like anybody who's even semi-retired.
Yeah, considering it's a 24-hour run for me, making everything homemade. I make the chili, I make the garlic relish, I make the onions. I'm back and forth to the store. It's a lot of running around. It keeps me quite busy.
Several people have already pulled up wanting to eat, and of course we told them we were doing this interview and they had to wait just a few minutes. But you seem to have a lot of regulars.
Just so you know, if they're cool people, I'll serve them a little early.
Well, yeah, and I see that. Hot dogs for cool people.
That's right.
Only cool people eat at Chester's. Now, you can't miss this place because Chester's is right on the highway. As you can hear, I can barely hear Chester. There's a lot of noise going by, but it doesn't stop people from coming here and sitting down and having a picnic, winter, summer, spring, and fall.
Roadside dining at its finest.
I mean, absolutely. Now, you have prepared some things for me to taste. I smell garlic. Now, I'm allergic to garlic from the standpoint of I'll be burping all day. Just frankly, is that what that is here?
Yes, ma'am. It's a warm garlic relish.
But I heard people love this relish.
A lot of people like my relish. Yeah.
What did you prepare for me here?
That is the homemade chili, mustard, ketchup, and coleslaw. No onions, of course.
Oh, love it. I love the bun. I love the hot dog. The slaw is delicious. What makes that so special?
Publix.
That's a Publix slaw?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
I pick it up fresh every day.
Well, that's honest, but yet, as you said, you make your own chili, which I have on here.
Yes,
Delicious. And the potato bun.
the best.
Now, tell me about the fish sandwich, because you said it's also one of your hottest selling items, and there's something special about, you said, the batter on the fish.
Yeah, those are called brown bellies. I get them from Charleston. If I call today, they come tomorrow. And brown bellies are really sweet, great tasting flounder. They're deep fried, of course, but the outside is House of Autry I use. And what do you think of that?
That's luscious.
Yeah, I put a little coleslaw on there and some Old Bay right on top of that Martin's potato bun.
That is wonderful. So the fish comes out of Charleston.
Yes, ma'am.
Huh.
And they're called brown bellies. The southern folk tell me there's a difference. It's a much sweeter flounder, and they really enjoy it.
Now, a lot of
Everybody enjoys it.
everybody loves it.
That's the baronda.
Now, I happen to know that Chester grew up Italian. He's still Italian. And this would be a pretty famous sandwich up north.
I don't know how famous that would be, but that's my own little creation. I have the potato buns, so I throw in a premio Italian sausage from New Jersey. I deep fry them, put them on there with a little bit of my cooked onions, warm garlic relish, roasted red pepper, and they're to die for. Don't forget the spicy mustard.
Mmm, yum. What wonderful choices. And yet, there's still shrimp.
And shrimp as well, yes. I do shrimp, crinkle fries.
It's hard to believe you do all this yourself.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. What did you do before all this? Before you moved from New Jersey to Litchfield?
I worked for the county government road department, built highways and roadways and did paving, a lot of paving. I had a little side business. I did a little hustle. Kitchens, bathrooms, decks. And my youngest wanted to go to USC, so we took the opportunity to move to South Carolina. And we've been happy ever since.
You became a Gamecock.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
I've been to the Gamecock Stadium.
This is so good. I'm going to eat some more while you tell me about all those badges that I saw inside the restaurant.
Well, my dad used to be a police officer in Union, New Jersey. And when he passed, I did a little tattoo of my dad's badge on my arm. And I have a lot of respect for the police officers, the firemen. And so I try to take care of them. If they come, I won't charge them for a hot dog, or they'll get a free soda or whatever. I think it's good to give back to them because they give so much to us. And not everybody's built for that.
That's really terrific, though, to be able to offer the police an opportunity to have a free lunch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned soda, which some people call pop, some people just refer to it as cheer wine. This is very Southern.
Yeah, that was my neighbor, Chris Baird. When I moved in, he lived across the street from me. When he found out I was opening up a hot dog joint, he said, well, if you open up a hot dog joint, you got to sell cheer wine.
Did he say it just like that?
Just like that. He's a good man.
So what is in the future for you? I mean, this was supposed to be a retirement move, and you've been at this now for 4 years, making Chester's Pit Stop famous in Litchfield.
I will let you know what my future move is when my wife lets me know what my future move is.
Any final words, Chester, my buddy?
It was my great pleasure meeting you all, and I never expected this. I'm pretty excited about it.
Oh, I'm excited about it because we like to feature large and small, and this is one of the smaller restaurants we've ever featured. But with your national publicity, it was a shame I haven't been here before.
I'm quite blown away by how far people will travel for a hot dog.
A good hot dog.
I get people here from Charleston. People come from all. I've had people tell me I've been thinking about you since the Delaware Memorial Bridge, and that's quite a drive.
Whoa, absolutely. And if you do decide to eat the garlic, Chester provides you with plenty of lifesavers so that you will not be burping, or you will not smell like garlic.
You'll be able to go to your next meeting.
There you go. That's the deal. It's Chester's Pit Stop in Litchfield. Come on in and join Chester. Give me the dates one more time. Times?
We open Tuesday through Friday, 11 to 5, Saturday 11 to 4. Most days. Remember, I'm retired, so sometimes I take a day off. You know what I'm saying?
diggity dog. Ah. Yum. Artsy gourds are coming up next on Inside Out.
As fellow community members, HTC knows the precious value of family time spent together. That's why HTC delivers faster speeds, 24/7 local tech support, and free Wi-Fi. No matter where the day takes me, HTC serves up the world-class high-speed internet you need to stay connected to your world. Because you are here, and so are we.
High-speed internet starting at 300 megabits per second and up to 1 gig for as low as $49.95.
HTC, this is life. Connect with it.
The Long Bay Symphony, under the direction of Maestro Dr. Charles Jones Evans, presents The Romantic Legacy, from Rossini to Ravel. Join the Long Bay Symphony for an exquisite performance of the most emotional, passionate, and widely beloved classical music of all time, featuring solo violinist Benjamin Baker. The Romantic Legacy, Sunday, January 30th at 4 p.m. For tickets, call 843-448-8379 or go online at longbaysymphony.com.
Have you thought about getting crafty in the new year? Well, I found someone who was crafty in the old year and has been crafty for a long time. As a matter of fact, when I did the TV interview with Shine Cafe, I found her work there. This is Debbie Hicks, and the business is Gourdie Me. Gourdie, because they're gourds. I love it, Debbie. How'd you come up with this name?
Well, I wanted to be the Gourd Lady, but I found out there was already a Gourd Lady. So a friend of mine was standing there and she said, "Oh, Gourdie Me." I said, "I'll do it."
Like, oh, Lordy Me.
Oh, Lordy Me, that's it.
It's adorable.
Thank
So
you.
tell me about your art. When did you first feel like you became an artist?
Well, it probably started when I was very small, because I used to draw all of the funny papers, but I thought everybody did that. Later on I found out not everybody does that. So, but I didn't pursue my art degree until after I was around 40 years old. I went back to Coastal and took my art there and got my degree.
But when you studied art at Coastal, you weren't doing gourds.
No, but I actually was still running my beauty shop at the time. And one of my customers, a farmer from Highway 90, brought me a gourd, and I was in that art thing, you know, so I thought, well, I'll just paint it. So I did. I did this nice scene on it, posted it on Facebook to show my son, and 9 people tried to buy it from me. So I was like, okay, I know what to do now.
Something different and unique.
Yes.
So what is actually the history of gourds?
Gourds originated for utilitarian purposes. The natives used them for bowls. For the cowboys used them to dip down in the well. Some of the mothers used them, filled them with beeswax, and then put goat's milk in them so they'd have a baby bottle. So they were not edible at all for in any reason. And then now we get to make big girl toys out of them.
So what can you tell us about growing gourds? I mean, why is one look like this, and then another one looks like this, and then I look at that cat one over there that's all windy twisty. How does that happen?
You just have to have the right seed. Like if you want to grow these are kind of, they're called long handle gourds, but they're not as long handled as this. So if you bust him and you take his seed out, you'll get that. You bust this, you're going to get this. It just depends on what you're wanting. Most people want the purple martin gourds, which is what I make the birdhouses out of.
I had no idea that gourds come from various seeds.
They do.
Now let's see. Oh, over here. I saw something I want to hold up here because, I mean, is this a gourd?
These are called Job's Tears. They're the smallest gourd that grows. Grows on a vine, and once they're dry, 9 months, it takes 9 months to dry a gourd on the vine. I take a needle and I poke it in there and pull out the vine, and then it leaves a hole in there, and that's how I make the earrings out of it.
They're beautiful little teardrops.
Yes, they are. And I don't paint them. I just use a clear polish on them. and that way they have that natural look on them.
What's your hottest selling item, Deb?
Oh, me. Probably the ornaments. The birdhouses are second in line, but everybody loves the ornaments, and it doesn't matter what time of year it is. And even in the summer, the souvenirs. You know, they want to take a little something back from the beach, so they get a little starfish and take it with them.
And of course, I love your whimsy. Folks know that I have a whimsical attitude about life, and these are just adorable.
These are flamingos because they have bling going on.
Flamingo.
Flamingos.
I like it. Now, we are here in Surfside, next to the Surfside Library, at what's known as Discover Surfside Crafters Market. And even though I found Debbie here in December and of course airing in January, this market will resume again in the spring.
Yes, it'll open up around the end of March, 1st of April.
And I saw Sonia over there. She runs the joint.
She does, and she does it well.
And she's got her own booth over there,
Yes.
but she's always recruiting new crafters to come and join the fun in Surfside.
And she understands what it's like to be a vendor because she's one herself.
Now, how about you? Where else? I told everyone that I found your work at Shine Cafe in Conway.
Yes.
And then, of course, you're here in Surfside at the library during the Discover Surfside event. And where else can people find you?
I do One Love Market in Sunset Beach, North Carolina, right there by the pier. That's a lovely one. I do that everything starts in April and goes through December. So we do it there Mondays and Saturdays. And then the local festivals like North Myrtle Beach, St. Patrick's Day, or there's one in Murrells Inlet that I do a big one down there. So when there's a local festival, you're going to find me there.
So what has been your most challenging gourd to make? Has someone called you and said, I need a gourd to look like my husband? I might ask for that. That's a good
funny.
idea. That's a
You know
good
what?
idea.
I did have a principal.
Chuck's got a birthday coming up in February.
I did have a principal of one of our schools ask me to make a gourd of her mother and father. Oh. And it was, the mom had like glasses and curly hair. It was her head. But the father, he was bald and had a big nose and had the little, and yes, that was challenging. But it's not as challenging as the giraffe.
The giraffe, huh?
The giraffe, and a lot of people love the giraffe, but when I first started making him, he didn't look right for a long time. I figured out later that giraffe has 4 legs, not 2. And that made a big difference once I put 4 legs on
Well,
there.
yeah, and it's a funky little tail.
Yes, and I have changed him over the years, his colors, and I think I finally have him where I want him with the little bling going on because he's jealous, you know. He
knows that there's a lot of flamingos going out the door.
Right.
So here's one of the gourds. I love this floral, by the way. And Debbie, tell me a little bit about birds. Do they really go in these?
The birds love them because they're natural. And a lot of the local people are asking me, you know, will the birds go in there? Yes, they will. They love them. If you will get your scent off of them, you know, like 3 or 4 days, hang it up, leave it alone, don't go around it, you'll get a bird in there. A lot of people ask me, do you clean them out? No. Leave that nest in there because the birds will come back the following year. It's a natural thing. You don't want to wash it out anyway. But a lot of the people in this area come back to me and get another one because they said they're getting bluebirds in them.
Wow.
Which is amazing because bluebirds are very picky, but they're loving it. And I think if it's deep, like this one, if it's deep, then you can get a bluebird to hide down in there, and that's what they like.
And look at the kitty motif. Absolutely adorable. Well, for birthdays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, graduations, whatever,
yes,
you've got the goods. So we're going to put your phone number on the screen if somebody would like to reach Debbie and possibly have a gourd made like your husband or one of your children.
Or your grandma or grandpa.
Whatever.
I've done it now.
Whatever. Debbie can do it. It's Gourdie Me. Look for her at farmers markets, at crafters events, Shine Cafe, and other locations around town. Thank you, Deb. Thank you so very much. Bravo. Why are prescribed fires good for forested areas? Find out after this break.
think I'll adjust the thermostat. It's getting a little cool.
Mom, you don't have to get up to do that. I've installed the HTC Connected Home app on your phone. See, you can adjust the temperature from anywhere. Okay, Mom, I've got to go. Thanks for house sitting. Make sure to lock the door and set the alarm.
No problem. I have everything I need right here.
HTC self-install kit, $0 with 36-month monitoring commitment.
HTC, this is life. Connect with it.
In mid-December, our Inside Out cameras captured the highlights of wreaths across America at the National Cemetery in Florence. And as most of you probably know, when veterans from our area pass away, they are entitled to be buried at this beautiful national cemetery.
This segment of Inside Out is brought to you by Magnolia's at 26th for good old-fashioned Southern comfort food, where Mama eats.
Friends, we're in Conway today at Lewis Ocean Bay. What a beautiful tract of land. And I'm here with Trapper Fowler, and he actually managed this property for a long time. And before we talk about your organization that you're now involved with, tell me about your background.
So I'm originally from Conway, South Carolina. Grew up here, born and raised, moved away for a little bit and then returned back through work and started work with South Carolina Department of Natural Resources and had the pleasure of managing this special place for about 6 years.
What did it take to manage a place like this? And a lot of people have never even been here. How about you tell us where we are?
So we're at Lewis Ocean Bay Heritage Preserve today, and it's a special place to the state and really globally because of some of the species that exist here that don't exist in other places. It's a fire maintained, a fire dependent system that requires periodic fire or regular fire every 2 to 3 years. That's based on the historical lightning fires that would have came down and ran across the landscape before we were here.
And this is international?
We're just off International Drive, just a short distance from Myrtle Beach in the coastline.
I'm sure a lot of people have passed it and never even knew it was here, and maybe some even wondered what was back here, but it's open to the public.
It is. It's open to the public. DNR obtained it in 1989, the same year we had Hugo. There is hunting seasons here with the proper permits and licenses, but people can also come out here and just walk and enjoy a nice stroll, a nice car ride. The roads are well maintained for the most part. It's just a good place to come out and walk and bird and see wildlife and the plant life. It's very diverse here.
Having done an interview before with your friend of mine, Sudie, she was telling me a lot of things grow here too that don't really grow anywhere else.
Correct. Yeah, we have Venus flytraps here. They only occur here primarily in Horry County and then a little bit near Wilmington and in that vicinity, and then that's it for the world. we have megafauna here, just like the black bear. It used to be one of the largest populations in the state. It's been reduced due to a lot of development in the area. You also have red-cockaded woodpeckers here, a fairly endangered species.
Let's talk about what you do now. And of course, the topic today here is controlled burns. And a lot of people don't understand why we even have fires.
So my role now is I'm the North Coast Project Manager with the Coastal Conservation League. But we help advocate for special places like this and make sure that the resources are sustained for future generations to enjoy. And this place is unique in that it's really the poster child of a fire-dependent system in this area. Much of the southeast would have looked just like what you see behind us. Real open pine stands, very biologically diverse on the ground. But in order to have that, we have to have fire. And like I said, historically you would have had lightning fires come down with infrastructure introduced like roads and housing developments and just, when you have a lightning strike, it's often extinguished immediately by, firefighters. So DNR and other land managers are tasked with setting fire intentionally to the woods, and it's called prescribed fire. It's also called controlled burning. They're the same thing, but the difference is between a prescribed fire and a wildfire is a prescribed fire is set intentionally by a landowner or a trained professional, and it's under a certain set of weather parameters. So it's all planned, and it takes a lot of planning. Whereas a wildfire, happens and we're not in control of that. That's either introduced by man burning trash in their backyard or debris in their backyard at the wrong time of year. So without fire, we can't have this.
Trapper, let's say that you have a prescribed burn in an area, let's say this year. Is that something you do every year in that area, or do you do it here and then next year you do it there? How does that work?
So the way this place is you have a burn unit, and that one burn unit, like what's behind us, say it's 200 acres. Well, that 200 acres you're going to burn this year. Well, historically, it would have burned about every 2 to 3 years. So that's the fire cycle. So each one of these burn units is burned every 2 to 3 years, but that's not to say that all of Lewis Ocean Bay is burned every 2 to 3 years, but certain segments of it are. DNR shoots to burn about 1,500 acres to 2,000 acres per year, but it's a matrix. It's a mosaic.
I've always thought that the county was in charge of that.
No, the county puts on what you call a burn ban, like what we're actually in today, because the conditions are dry. If a fire were to ignite, say during the summer when you're in extreme drought, that fire could smolder for a long time. So DNR has a hard time finding that in between when it's not too dry and not too wet in order to be able to burn efficiently. So that's one of the big challenges here, in addition to the 4-lane highways that surround it, the encroaching housing developments, and things like a proposed hospital.
How do you protect the animals and the plants that are important to the environment?
Burning's a big part of it. So burning not only maintains their habitat, for plants, it knocks down the encroaching vegetation around them so they actually receive nutrients. Venus flytraps receive their prey base, and it returns those nutrients to the soil. But it's also good for game species like deer and wild turkey. It actually makes the vegetation more palatable and more nutritious for them.
So this month of January is a prescribed burning time, and then how many more months do you continue this?
Generally all the way into the spring and early summer. And without fire, a good question is, what happens if we don't burn? Well, if we don't burn, those fire-adapted species, fire-dependent species disappear from the landscape, like Venus flytraps and red-cockaded woodpeckers. And then the big thing for the community is, by prescribed burning, we knock down that fuel load. By reducing the fuel loads, we protect the urban interface and in turn, it also protects the habitat for the plants and animals here.
So what else would you like the public to know in wrapping up? Because I know a lot of people find this controversial, but you've just laid it out. It's important and necessary.
It's important and it's necessary for the animals that thrive here. It's important and necessary for the community around here, like Carolina Forest, to have protection, because it's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when the wildfire happens. They happen on a cycle of about 15 to 20 years in this area, sometimes more, sometimes less. And, a big thing for the public to realize is, if you can put up with a little bit of inconvenience for just a few days during a prescribed fire when it's, by professionals under good weather conditions, that beats a wildfire occurring and it being in bad conditions where it's going to smolder for months on end and shut down highways like 22 and 31. And I think we need to be mindful about how the area around Lewis Ocean Bay is developed. Smoke sensitive areas should be considered because DNR doesn't need any more limitations on burning here. So things such as medical facilities and schools, those really critical smoke sensitive areas should heavily be considered when trying to put them near places like this. So Diane, when the public sees a big plume of smoke, that doesn't mean it's a wildfire. That means South Carolina Department of Natural Resources and South Carolina Forestry Commission are out here working together to make it a safer community through reductions in fuel to decrease the wildfire chances. And at the same time, they're helping to protect the animals and plants that thrive here.
Trapper, thanks for the info. You certainly enlightened all of us. We know the county is not in charge of this, Coastal Conservation League. We thank you for everything you're doing to keep our community beautiful, safe, and growing. Happy New Year, Trapper, and thanks for the great info.
Thank you for having me.
A nursing salute like no other. That's what's next on Inside Out. Proper serving, proper distancing. We're into safety at Magnolia's. Our staff now plates your food with all your favorite choices from the buffet, salad bar, and dessert bar, and it's still all you can eat. There's also breakfast, evening, and an expanded Sunday buffet. Mama says she can't cook it that cheap. Plus, the kids will love the yummy ice cream machine. Named Small Business of the Year by the Chamber of Commerce, Magnolia's. It's where Mama eats.
This segment of HTC Inside Out is presented by the McGuire Law Firm. Be kind today and tomorrow.
With this being a new year, I was lucky enough to find a new nonprofit organization. And here on Inside Out, we love featuring nonprofits. Meet Pamela and Pamela DeRuvo.
Yes.
And Pamela happens to be with the Nurses Honor Guard of South Carolina. But I'm sure you guessed that by the way she's dressed. First, tell me about this ensemble.
This uniform that I have on was what was used back in World War II when the nurses were in full uniform at all times. So when we go in and we present ourselves, we want to look the role of the old nurses. So we have on the cape, the white uniform, white shoes, and our caps.
When I first got the phone call from your friend Beth Edwards about this organization, it touched my heart. It reminded me of what veterans do for other veterans.
Yes.
Please tell us what the organization is up to.
What we do is we go in and we perform the Nightingale tribute to nurses, deceased nurses, at either their funerals, at their wakes, or at their graveside. And we are able to do this service with a group of our nurses. It takes about 4 minutes for us to do it. We're able to do this to honor this nurse because every nurse has given a lot in her life to be a nurse. And this way we're able to honor her at her final time. We also release her from duty with the ringing of the bell, and that is a very, very touching time.
Even though this organization is national, you are doing Horry and Georgetown County right now and building it all up.
Yes, we are. Right now we have 43 nurses in the Horry County area. We also are expanding into the Georgetown area. We are going also into Florence and Darlington. Therefore, we're always looking for nurses that will volunteer their time to help us.
So in order to be an active Honor Guard nurse, what are some of the things we promise to do?
What we promise to do is we promise to attend at least 1 to 2 funerals every 6 months, or 1 to 2 services every 6 months. Because what we want to do is have a full team, and it usually takes about 4 to 5 people to do a beautiful service. We have had services where we've had as many as 8, and those services are absolutely magnificent when you see 8 nurses standing at the front of the church looking in this outfit. So that's a very touching time. But what they need to be able to do is attend training. They need to be able to attend the services along with the other nurses, and they need to be able to help us recruit other nurses for our areas.
I know there's a small dues fee. However, there's also an opportunity for the public to make donations, because these are things that you must buy that we're seeing here for the final salute.
Yes. Every deceased nurse gets, or their family will get one of the Nightingale lamps, because we do the Nightingale tribute. And we present that in a beautiful handmade box that we give to the family as a remembrance of their loved one who was a nurse and gave her life as a nurse to the family. And that is a very touching time as well.
Take us through a service. What actually happens step by step?
A team of nurses that is attending the service will line up at the front of the church or wherever the funeral is being held, and we will do the Nightingale tribute. We also honor the nurse by saying that she has given her life to her patients, and we also talk about how she was able to touch others through her compassion and able to touch others through all of the things that she's done to make people's lives better. So we do that. We also have the presentation of the lamp. The lamp is lit, and the family gets the lamp in the box that we talked about. The bell is rung, calling the nurse to duty. It's rung 3 times, calling the nurse to duty, and then we do the final ring, which releases her from her nursing duties on earth. And that's how we close the service. It takes about 4 minutes for us to do the service, but it's a very, very touching time.
And the rose?
The rose is given to the deceased. It is either placed upon their casket or placed where their urn is, and that stays with them from that point forward.
What about the types of nurses? Is it just registered nurses? Who actually qualifies to be a part of the Guard?
It is licensed practical nurses, registered nurses, advanced practice nurses, which are nurses such as nurse practitioners and nurse midwives and nurse anesthetists. Those are advanced practice nurses. Those are the ones that we can come and provide the service to at the time of their passing. Also, we can recruit those type of nurses as well to help us.
So how are you getting the word out? I mean, I know that you can't go into hospitals right now because of the pandemic issues. So how do you get the word out about the recruitment?
Diane, we haven't been able to go into the hospitals, just as you said. But what we're trying to do is get the word of mouth out through the funeral services, funeral homes, also through the other nurses organization. And once a nurse joins this and does a funeral, we ask her to post a picture on her social media page in full dress and tell what she's doing, and a lot of times we'll get her friends that way.
How can the public help right now?
The public can help by sending donations. As you know, we're a nonprofit. But it takes money to do things like buy these lamps. They're not inexpensive. We also use fresh roses for every service that we do, and the boxes that we do.
So can our friends who are watching us right now in Horry and Georgetown County, can they make a donation in honor of a nurse that maybe was their mother or their grandmother, to make a donation in their honor to salute other nurses who may be passing?
Absolutely, and what a wonderful thing that would be. They can do that because we're a 501c and we do take donations. You can do that through nurseshonorguard.com, or if you want to call the number on the screen, and we can certainly arrange a place to pick up if you feel more comfortable doing that as well.
Final words from you, Pamela.
This has been the most honorable thing I've ever done. I was able to do a service for my best friend who passed away this year. Both of her daughters are nurses, and we were able to do the service for her. Both of those girls said that they had never seen anything more touching in their lives than to see this service for their mom.
Here it is, Nurses Honor Guard of South Carolina. Pamela, we're so honored to be among the first to break the news about this wonderful new nonprofit organization serving Horry and Georgetown counties. Friends, reach into your pocketbooks, make a donation. It'll warm your heart for this new year. Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you so much.
Need a few iPhone lessons? Well, the man to do it is coming up next, so stay with us.
When you're seriously injured, where should you turn? Turn to a law firm that has deep roots fighting for members of our community.
McGuire Law Firm is here. The same familiar faces you see on TV or around town are actually the same faces you'll see when you walk into our office.
We're here. We're here.
And we're here. And when the time comes, we'll fight for you every step of the way.
McGuire Law Firm, in your community, fighting for you.
Join the Carolina Master Chorale for their most popular concert of the year, Stories of the Heart. Come celebrate Valentine's Day with a program of colorful love songs featuring celebrity guest artist and local TV personality Greg Rolls. Stories of the Heart, 4 p.m. Saturday, February 12th at Trinity United Methodist Church in North Myrtle Beach, and Sunday the 13th at First Presbyterian Church in Myrtle Beach. Call for tickets or go online at carolinamasterchorale.com.
So in case you got a new iPhone for Christmas, I've got a man here who knows all about it. Since 2014, he's been teaching iPhone techniques. This is Carl DiLorenzo, and we're in Murrells Inlet in his beautiful home. And you're not here very much, I understand, because you've been traveling a lot on cruise ships doing just this.
Yes, I'm fortunate enough to be given assignments on cruise ships where I lecture on iPhones and iPads.
Now, I know you kind of call yourself a super geek, so what did you do before all this?
Well, I started in electronics in 1959 when I went to work for IBM. The first project I worked on was the first transistorized commercial computer that IBM sold. My career lasted with them for 35 years in software engineering, hardware engineering, and consulting. And then I started my own consulting company after I retired after 35 years. And then I completely retired to Murrells Inlet, South Carolina.
So you played golf for a while, but then everyone in the neighborhood, I understand, knew that you were very technologically oriented, and they started asking for help. And I guess that's how it began, huh?
Yes, that is how it began. Everywhere I went in the community, even at social events, people would come up to me and put their iPhones or their iPads in front of me and ask me, how does this work? How does that work? And finally, I decided that what I would do was put together a course for the entire community and invite anyone who was interested in learning more about their iPhones and their iPads to meet me on Fridays at our amenity center, where we conducted a 1-hour session for about 5 or 6 Fridays.
And then, of course, the OLLI program hired you, and several neighborhoods hired you to come out and do this. And so now you are staying busy.
Yes, very, very busy. I've taught classes at OLLI. taught classes at City Mac, which was a store that was in the Market Common. And then I was called upon to do classes at some of the senior communities, which is a lot of fun. I've done classes at Brightwater, at Litchfield. I've had students ages 45. The last class I was in, I proudly announced that I had, at one time, had someone in my class who was 90 years old. And then everyone in the audience started chuckling. And I said, "What's so funny?" And they said, "You haven't mentioned," and they pointed to a woman who was 101 and had come into the class with a brand new iPad.
Isn't that exciting, though, that she still wanted to learn? And that's the name of the game. You say, of course, that this helps people. This helps seniors in their later years keep their mind going. They need to know how to work the iPhone and the iPad. And so for our viewers, if anyone wanted to hire you to come out to their neighborhood, what do they need to do?
Well, they either need to go to my website, 123iphone.com, or they can give me a call at my home at any time, and I'll be happy to either do a private one-on-one lesson, do group lessons, whatever they'd like to do. It's very disheartening to know that some of them were intimidated into purchasing these devices by their children or grandchildren and have limited them to making telephone calls, walking around with a $500 piece of equipment that they only use for telephone calls, and maybe they've moved into texting.
But there's so much more, and it's all outlined in this book. But you tell me that not only can folks buy this book from your website, but they can also download it.
Yes, we started out by just offering a hard copy book, and then we realized that people wanted it immediately. They wanted it a little bit more mobile, so what we did is we converted this book, and I wrote another book called Tips and Tricks, and we converted both of them from hard copy to downloadable PDF copies that they can download and put immediately into their iPhones and their iPads.
And I love the way you have the index, because everything is there. All you have to do is go and, how to find an app in your app library or how to create an Apple ID. I mean, it's all here.
Yes, it is.
That's absolutely cool. But this isn't the first endeavor you've had in writing. Many, many moons ago, I remember interviewing you on a previous book that you wrote, but someone told me your new book, I don't know when you have time to do this. I mean, come on. The final act I heard was, I heard it will make you laugh and make you cry.
Yes. I've gotten some very good reviews on people who have reviewed preliminary copies of it. And I got a notice from Amazon last week saying it is finally out there. And people can download it. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can download it for free. The only thing I would ask anyone who does download it and read it, if they would give it a review.
Oh yeah, that's always great.
That's great. Yes.
Oh, you can count on it. I want to do that because it sounds absolutely awesome. And you say it's about retirement, huh?
Well, it's about a man who's struggling with retirement and aging and is not handling it too well.
So finally, Carl, in all the teachings with this iPhone business, was there ever really a crazy question someone asked you that you'll just never forget?
Well, most students will start off a question with, "I know this is dumb," and I tell them, please don't start off the question with, "I know this is dumb," because when you're learning technology, there is no such thing as a dumb question. I have been asked everything under the sun. I had a woman one time who called me and she said, "I understand that you give private lessons." And I said, "Yes." She said, "Can I schedule one?" I said, "Absolutely. When would you like it?" She said, "Immediately, right now." And I said, "Well, right this minute?" She said, "Yes, can you come to my home?" And I said, "Oh, okay." And so when I arrived at her home, she had a brand new phone. She had just come back from one of the stores where she bought it. And I said, "Okay, what is the emergency?" And she said, "How do I make a telephone call?"
Well, isn't that the truth? I felt the same way when I first got my iPhone.
And she thought she was so embarrassed to ask me a question that basic. And I said, "No, that's not a basic question." I said, "How would you even begin to know how to make a telephone call on something that someone just sold you over the counter?"
This is the man, and as he said, he claims to be a super geek, and he's proud to be, but he can help you be even a little bit geeky if you would like it. And of course, it's 123iPhone, and I hope, right?
Yes, 123iPhone.com.
There you go, and I want you to contact Carl if you need him or you'd like to schedule a class for your church group, civic group, neighborhood, whatever. And as I said, he's been going on a lot of cruise ships, so you better book him now. Carl, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
After this break, we'll tell you how you can join the Friends of Lewis Ocean Bay.
As fellow community members, HTC believes in helping friends and neighbors protect what matters most. With integrated home technology, I can control my home and security system from my smartphone. HTC Security makes my job easier and keeps my world running smoothly, no matter where the day takes me. HTC brings reliable, world-class security right here to Horry and Georgetown counties because you are here, and so are we.
Upgrade your security with a video doorbell from HTC.
HTC. This is life. Connect with it.
So friends, if you care about nature and you care about the environment, you're going to be interested in joining the Friends of Lewis Ocean Bay. I want you to meet Jim Luken. Now, Jim really cares about conservation and the environment. He teaches at Coastal Carolina University, and tell us what you do there, Jim.
Well, I'm a biologist primarily. I came there as a botanist, and one of the reasons why I got involved out here at Lewis Ocean Bay was because I became really interested in the Venus flytrap, which is one of the important aspects of this particular preserve here.
But you're interested in starting an organization called the Friends of Lewis Ocean Bay. This would be a new organization. What would these friends do?
Well, when I moved here in 2001, when I came out here, it was hard to get here. The road was horrible, and really nobody knew this place existed. Well, a lot has changed. We have International Drive now, and we have a lot of challenges with regard to this particular preserve. So the purpose of this particular group is to try and draw in students, people who are interested in nature, anybody who may not have been here, but also people who come here a lot, and to get them involved in a group where we get together, we talk about some of the issues that are here, we learn about the preserve, we maybe do some things that help in preserving it as for the future, and that's really what the group will be about.
I was thinking that you have hunters, of course, who come out here, but then you have other conservationists. You have a lot of photographers as well. They're all the kinds of people who would make up a great group of friends.
Well, that's sort of the deal. So right now, a lot of people come out here and enjoy the place, but there's no group for them to get together and talk about how they use the site. There's no sharing of information, things like that. And I'm going to tell you right now, citizen scientists in groups like this can be really important in terms of just saying, well, the other day I saw this over here, we're seeing more of this now, and things like that, which really helps in really understanding how these preserves like this are remaining healthy through time.
With this being a new year and a new organization, you got to have a meeting lined up.
We do, and we're right now sort of trying to get people together, gauge the interest in this particular group, and then we're hoping on January 31st to have an online meeting just to get everybody together, get some ideas on written down in terms of what we want the group to do, and to sort of just get organized.
Now, I happened to find your most recent book. You've written many books, but this is Coastal South Carolina Fish and Game. Tell me about the book.
I wrote the book primarily because I found out that at the coast of South Carolina, we probably have more protected areas than any other state on the East Coast. And when I say protected areas, I mean places like Lewis Ocean Bay, National Wildlife Refuges, state parks. And the question I really asked was, well, how did this situation come about? And so what I do in the book is I go all the way back to the Native Americans, to the early colonists, all the way up to the Civil War, through the Civil War, into the early 1900s, and try to trace land use, and then how we came to get a lot of that land on the coast of South Carolina into conservation protection. It really is, I think it's kind of a fascinating story, and it's one that's unique to South Carolina, one that I think is not similar in any other state on the East Coast.
What are some of the things, give me one or two things that you found out that were kind of surprising to you, that really through your research you said, wow.
Oh, that's an easy one.
All right.
So most people don't know, but at the turn of the century, 1900, it was really kind of a bad situation for fish, wildlife, because of market hunting, unregulated hunting, commercial fishing, and right after the turn of the century, there wasn't really anybody in South Carolina who wanted to change the situation. We had very few regulations in place, no game wardens in place. And so one of the first groups that was actually put in charge of enforcing game laws was a little unknown group called the Audubon Society. Many people don't realize this, but actually the Audubon Society was the first group to try to put in place a system of enforceable fish and game laws in the state of South Carolina.
And then from there, who handled it?
From there, what was formed was they hired a chief game warden. Actually hired two of them. The first one didn't last very long. The second one lasted a long time. And from that particular point onward, that person put in place the game warden system. Actually, the same system that we have nowadays. It started out very small. It was funded primarily from licenses and fines, same situation we have nowadays, and it just continued to grow, and it grew into the system that we have today.
Jim, what was the most abused of all the critters in days gone by?
Well, of course, we had things like the passenger pigeon that went extinct. They were very much abused, and that happened well before any game laws were even thought of being put in place. Right here in Georgetown and Horry County, we had a thriving sturgeon fishery. And the sturgeon fishery involved stretching nets all the way across the Waccamaw River. They caught sturgeon. They caught just about everything else that swam there, and as a result of that, sturgeon populations plummeted, and they really have never recovered to the levels that they once were.
Do you feel like we're in good hands today? Do you feel like we're well protected in all areas?
We have so many, professionals that are now sort of stewards of all these protected areas at the coast of South Carolina. We have federal biologists who are in charge of the National Wildlife Refuges. We have the state DNR, who's in charge of a lot of the state refuges. And so we have state parks, another group that are stewards of those lands. So yes, indeed, the situation is much better now, and I think we're in good hands as far as the future is concerned.
Lots of photos here too. People like that.
Oh yeah, lots of historical photos, many of which I got from the Georgetown Library. They have an incredible collection of historical digital photographs.
So where's the book available? Coastal South Carolina Fish and Game.
You can get it on Amazon. There's the typical bookstores also sell it, but probably the easiest way to get it is Amazon.com.
And finally, again, one more time, when is that big Zoom meeting coming up where people can get involved with the Friends of Lewis Ocean Bay?
We're hoping to meet on January the 31st in the evening. It's a Monday night, and so hopefully everybody will be able to make that meeting.
Thank you so much, Jim Luken. Appreciate you being here on Inside Out.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, you don't want to miss February's show because, as you know, February is always about love and passion. Happy New Year, friends.
Inside Out is presented by HTC. This is Life. Connect with it. And Magnolia's at 26th for good old-fashioned Southern comfort food where Mama eats. Along with the McGuire Law Firm. Be kind today and tomorrow.